Picture this: you enter the Grand Alcazar of Madrid in July 1651. Gold chandeliers glimmer, marble floors shine, tapestries depict Spanish victories, but the air is heavy, suffocating. It is not perfumed with roses or incense. Instead, a nauseating stench seeps through the corridors, strong enough to make courtiers faint. At the center of this royal world lies a young princess. Alive, breathing, smiling faintly, yet her body is already betraying her. Teeth crumble, flesh weakens, and an internal rot spreads. Physicians of the time called it imbalance of humors. Today, doctors would recognize it as extreme genetic collapse caused by generations of inbreeding. This is Margarita Teresa of Austria. She will live only 22 years, but her suffering will become a symbol of dynastic obsession, medical ignorance, and the terrifying cost of power exercised without compassion. Alive yet rotting from within. Margarita Teresa entered the world already carrying the weight of Spain's destiny. She was the daughter of King Philip IV of Spain and Mariana of Austria. That sounds like the union of two powerful dynasties, but it was not. Mariana was Philip's niece, and their marriage was only the latest in centuries of Habsburg inbreeding. By the mid-17th century, Spain was in decline. The empire stretched across oceans but was cracking under wars, debt, and famine. The Habsburgs clung to their idea of blood purity, believing that by marrying within the family, they kept divine legitimacy intact. In truth, they were sealing their children's fate. Margarita was their hope, a fragile, tiny girl, swaddled in silk and guarded by priests and physicians. But even in her infancy, her fragility was obvious. She was pale, often sick, and cried endlessly. Courtiers reassured the king that she was fine. But in whispers, midwives and servants told another story. The princess was already breaking under the burden of her family's choices. She was born not just to rule, but to suffer. By age 5, Margarita's teeth began to decay. Blackened stumps filled her mouth, each meal a torment. In an era when medicine relied on balancing the body's humors, her physicians tried everything. Bloodletting, draining her of what little strength she had. Mercury-based potions, meant to purify, but poisoning her slowly. Plasters of herbs and resins, burning her skin and worsening infection. The results were disastrous. By 8, her breath carried such a stench that courtiers could not stand close. Diplomats recorded that she left a trail of corruption in her wake. Court etiquette adapted. The princess was always surrounded by clouds of incense, perfumes, and flowers. Wherever she went, servants rushed ahead to mask the odor of a body that seemed to be rotting while still alive. Her childhood was not play, it was survival. And it was survival in isolation. Few wanted to be near her. In 1666, at the age of 12, Margarita was betrothed to her uncle, Emperor Leopold I of the Holy Roman Empire. The union was political, Spain needed the alliance, and Leopold wanted to cement Habsburg power. But behind the royal proclamations, the truth was horrifying. When imperial physicians inspected the girl, they noted her rotting teeth, her frail body, her hair already thinning. Her body was failing before she had lived. Yet none of this mattered. The marriage went forward, conducted by proxy in Madrid, cloaked in incense to mask her stench. To the Spanish court, the alliance meant survival. To Margarita, it meant a slow march into a foreign court where her body and weakness would be exposed to even more eyes. When Margarita arrived in Vienna in 1666, reality struck. The imperial court was horrified. Banquets were ruined as she struggled to eat, her rotting teeth making chewing impossible. Audiences ended quickly as courtiers choked on the smell. Physicians tried again, sulfur baths, leeches, harsh purgatives. Nothing helped. Instead, her condition worsened. By 1669, she became pregnant. For a time, her body rallied. In August that year, she gave birth to Maria Antonia of Austria, her only surviving child. But childbirth drained her further. Her second pregnancy in 1672 ended in stillbirth, plunging her into decline. She was 20 years old, but her body was decades older. Her skin was sallow, her hair fell out in handfuls, and her teeth were gone. By 1673, Margarita was a shadow of life. She rarely left her chambers. Her body emitted a stench so strong that even physicians limited their visits. Servants rotated quickly to air out her rooms. She was still a queen, but one abandoned by those around her, including her husband, who avoided her bedside. In March of that year, her body finally gave out. At just 22 years old, Margarita Theresa of Austria died. Death did not bring peace. When embalmers tried to prepare her body, they found it already decomposing, flesh sloughing off as though time had claimed her long before the grave. 17th-century doctors spoke of imbalanced humors and corruption of the flesh. But modern science reveals the true cause. Margarita Theresa suffered from a cascade of genetic disorders. Craniofacial deformities from the Habsburg jaw. Immune deficiencies making her vulnerable to chronic infection. Metabolic collapse, leaving her weak and stunted. Possible hydranencephaly, fluid in the brain causing neurological decline. Her rot was not witchcraft or sin. It was the predictable consequence of generations of inbreeding. Her body bore the price of a dynasty's obsession with blood purity. Margarita Theresa was not merely a princess of Spain, she was a child sacrificed to ambition. Her short life reminds us that behind every royal portrait and jeweled crown lies a human story. Her suffering was hidden beneath perfumes, silks, and ceremonies, but it could not be erased. The Habsburgs believed they were protecting their power. In truth, they were destroying their heirs. Margarita's fate reflects a dynasty that valued politics over people, ambition over compassion. Today, we understand genetics and inbreeding in ways her physicians could not. But her story is not only medical, it is moral. Power without compassion rots the very foundation of those who wield it. Like her body, the Spanish Empire itself soon decayed, eaten from within by greed, neglect, and obsession with bloodlines. Power without compassion destroys from within. And so the rotten princess of Spain becomes more than a tragic figure. She is a mirror, reflecting both the cruelty of her dynasty and the dangers of ambition unchecked by humanity. Her story lingers, a warning carved not in marble or gold, but in flesh that failed too soon.